go again.
Hello, my name is Dave. I'm 56 years old and I had a kidney transplant 1 year ago. My journey has been simply unbelievable. It has given me a better appreciation of what is meant by God's plan for me. My story begins 6 months before my transplant. I had a kidney condition for years that we had been monitoring. Then I got the call. My lab results showed I had crossed the line. I needed to have a transplant. We had received the call at a wayside in North Dakota. My wife and I were on our way to a family vacation in Montana. You've got to be kidding me, I thought. Finding out now, on the first day of vacation? What would we say to our family? I'm not ready. Should I cry? Should I ignore it? Should I let everyone know? It isn't supposed to happen like this, getting told on vacation. I didn't realize it at the time, but God's plan isn't necessarily my plan. Then we started the transplant process. We were told it was routine, like a knee replacement. And they were right about the surgical side of things, but little did I realize the emotional and spiritual side of this journey. We were trying to have the transplant before I needed to go on dialysis. I had 3 months. Would I find a donor? I heard it takes years because the list is so long. My only chance was to ask family members and friends to donate. But how do I ask them? It's just too much to ask, I thought. God had to have intervened because family and friends did volunteer. Even more surprising, those I only had faint relationships with volunteered. It was an unbelievable feeling of support. That feeling of love from these people was like combining all the Christmas presents together I ever had in my life. And that still wouldn't touch the joy and the warmth and the humbleness and the love I felt by the gift these people offered. Little did I know this was part of His plan for me. So the donor selection process began. It was completely independent of my evaluation. The hospital wanted to ensure the donor was doing this out of free will, not feeling pressured, not feeling guilty, but was doing this as an act of giving. This is exactly in line with the church's beliefs on transplants, and I was comforted knowing the donor evaluation was happening this way. Then I got a text one evening while I was in a hotel room on a work trip. I had a donor. My donor ended up being my college roommate who I hadn't seen in years. He was the best man at our wedding, but over the years we had gone our separate ways. I was so overwhelmed, I just had to sit there and reflect. Again, I didn't realize this was part of God's plan. My feeling of gratitude overflowed like the water rushing over Niagara Falls. How could someone be so willing to make such a sacrifice for me? How do I and my family and friends prepare? The time for surgery was a few weeks away. Medically, everything was set. But it was awkward to talk about it with my family without someone crying. As a man, I tried to avoid these emotional exchanges. I just wanted to stay focused on the facts of the surgery. Everyone wanted to help, but they didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what to do. My wonderful wife arranged a prayer service with our pastor at church. It was supposed to be just my wife and I, and our donor and his wife. When word got out, the room was full. My feeling of support was overwhelming, and so many of my family felt so much better being able to pray with me and for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but it had to have been God's way of opening my heart to let me know how much He and others loved me. It was a great way for my family to rely on God to help them through this also. The surgery happened. My kidney was working exceptional. That's the way it was supposed to be. I was relatively young, in pretty good shape, and had a good donor. I had made it. Surgery was complete. I had learned a lot, and now it was time to recover. God was truly good to get me through this. But God wasn't done with me yet. I had complications that resulted in more surgeries. It was too hard to pray. Was praying really going to help? I was just trying to survive. Give me more pills and I'll figure this out myself. But it wasn't working. Physically, I was going the wrong way, and worse, emotionally, I was going the wrong way. I was trying to do it myself versus let God do it His way. I had a sister who was a physician's assistant. I had a distant relationship with her. She offered to help previously, but I said, thanks, but no thanks, until now. Things had gotten to the point I needed to reach out for help. My wife and I were hearing all of these things from the doctors, and we couldn't make sense of it all. We needed someone who could understand what they were saying and let me know what it all meant. My wife made a call to my sister one morning, and she traveled across the state and was there that afternoon talking to the doctors. She asked questions of the doctors and provided me with answers in a way I could understand them. She called me daily for the next 4 months, understanding my test results and asking how I was doing. She gave me hope when I thought there was none. She showed me a love I didn't think she had for me. I didn't realize this was part of God's plans also, but I guess He needed this health issue to get us closer. Now, with my sister helping me, I thought we could do it. I still wasn't praying. Then I got a prayer card from my church's men's group. I opened it up, read the prayer card, and held it close to my chest. An excerpt from the prayer card was, Lord Jesus Christ, you who traveled through Galilee, healing the sick, enabling the blind to see and the lame to walk, bring healing to your people who need it this day. It felt so good to hear those prayer words. It was like taking a drink in the middle of a desert. I realized I couldn't do this myself. I needed God. So I gave my worries to Him, and I finally found peace. Whatever came of this was His plan for me. Through the entire process, my wife was with me every day. While I was in the hospital, she entered the room each day with a smile that would light up the place and an upbeat attitude, even when things were difficult. I realized again how much she really loves me and how much I really love her. I know that His plan for me was to focus on people more than tasks. Before this entire journey began, I thought I reached out to people, but I now realize tasks were more important to me than people. Now that I am through the darkest days of this journey, I still have a tendency to return to my own self, but praying daily keeps me grounded in God's plan for me to appreciate people more than tasks. It took a hard knock to the head to get my eyes to open, but even though this whole transplant journey was difficult, it made me a better person, and that's what God's plan is for me. I realized His plan from the people who volunteered to donate, to my long-lost college roommate, to my wife who was with me every day, to my distant sister who I now see the loving side of her, and to my friends who supported me with prayers and cards. As I sit back and reflect on this past year, little did I know when I found out I needed a kidney transplant, God's plan was to use this transplant to reach out to more people. This is my story, my journey, and how God helped me through it. Your journey will be different. My prayer is that you will let God help you through it. His plan will blow your mind.